everybody, and welcome to Hot Girls Eat Carbs. I'm your host, Brittany McCrystal, and this is your safe space for all things wellness, self-love, and sustainable weight loss. I am so excited to finally be launching this podcast. My life over the last few years has actually been a whirlwind, and I could not have done all of this without you guys. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to my first podcast episode. And if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Brittany, and I was born in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm 29 and a Libra, and the most fabulous but indecisive sign of them all. After years of struggling with my body and falling for every diet in the book, I finally found what actually works. And I was able to drop 25 kgs while still eating all of the foods that I love and enjoying the process. So I could finally make it a lifestyle. Here we focus on feeling good, building healthy habits, and making fitness fit for your life. We're ditching the all-or-nothing mindset and creating a lifestyle that feels effortless, aligned, and full of the foods we love. So go for your hot girl walk, grab a coffee, and let's chat. Honestly, you guys, if you had told me a few years ago that I would be here hosting a podcast about health and wellness, I probably would have laughed, because for most of my life, I wasn't that girl who had it all together. I was just a regular girl who loved food, went out on the weekends, and had no idea how to actually feel good in my body. I used to think that wellness was matcha lattes, green juices, and a 15-step morning routine. And if that I just did enough Pilates, ate enough salads, and journaled every morning at sunrise, I would finally become that girl who had it all together. But instead, I was stuck in a cycle of cutting out carbs, forcing myself to eat plain chicken and veggies, and feeling like I had to earn my food with my workouts. My journey didn't start in the gym. It started in a point where I was so tired of feeling uncomfortable in my skin, but I had no idea what to do about it. So I did what most of us do. I was that girl who thought that losing weight meant eating as little as possible and suffering through every diet I could find. Keto, yeah, I tried it. Cutting sugar, been there. Drinking lemon water because some influencer said it would boost my metabolism. And it took me years to unlearn all the diet culture BS and realize that feeling good isn't about restriction, it's just about balance. And that's exactly why I started this podcast. In 2018, I was working a desk job, living off takeaways, and honestly, I had no energy. I felt uncomfortable in my body, I had zero confidence, but every time I tried to be healthy, I either quit after a few weeks or I just felt like I was constantly failing. I just thought that I didn't have enough willpower, and I started blaming my genetics. And I kept saying to myself, maybe I was just born this way. My lack of self-confidence started when I was at school. I had to go up in our assembly because our sports team had won a special award. And I went up there and the captains introduced me as Big Mac in front of the whole school. I was so traumatized. And it was kind of the first moment that I was like, oh wow, this is what people are saying about me. And for the next couple of years, it just got worse. People would make small little comments that dug me further into denial and shame. Things like, oh, us big girls can't wear bikinis to the beach. Or my mum and nana thinking they were just looking out for me by telling me that I should really watch what I was eating, or making comments about my food choices. But here's what I wish I knew back then. It was never about willpower, and it was definitely not just my genetics. It was that I was simply trying to do the wrong things to lose weight. Things that weren't sustainable. And the second I stopped chasing quick fixes and started focusing on balance, everything changed. And that is exactly what I want this podcast to be about. Making health and fitness feel effortless instead of like a constant battle. Because the truth, that girl that you want to become isn't the one who eats the least or works out the hardest. She's the one who glows because she's well-fed, well-rested, and actually enjoys her life. And that's exactly what we're doing here. Building habits that make us feel good, eating food that we actually love, and making health something that works for us, not against us. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but not seeing progress, let's talk about why. Because I guarantee you, it's not that you're not trying hard enough. It's just that you might be focusing on the wrong things. For so long, we've been conditioned to believe that getting healthy means sacrificing everything. Our favorite foods, social events, and any kind of joy in eating. We've been told that if we're not miserable, we must not be doing it right. And honestly, that mindset is exactly what keeps so many of us stuck. I spent years believing that discipline meant suffering, that I had to eat plain chicken and broccoli while watching my friends order burgers, that skipping dinner after a big lunch was just balance, and feeling exhausted and hungry was all part of the process. And every time I failed, because of course I did, I blamed myself. I thought, maybe I just wasn't strong enough. Maybe I didn't want it badly enough. Or maybe my body was just never meant to be skinny. But it was never about willpower. It was about the approach. I wasn't failing. Those diets were failing me. And once I realized that, everything changed. I stopped looking at food as something I had to control and started looking at it as something that could work for me. I stopped punishing myself with workouts and started moving in a way that actually felt good. I stopped thinking of health as an all or nothing thing, and I started making small changes that could actually stick. And that is when the weight started coming off. That is finally when I started feeling good in my body. Not because I was forcing myself into some unrealistic lifestyle, but because I was building habits that actually made sense for me. And that's exactly what I want for you. Now, this podcast isn't about telling you to wake up at 5 a.m. and drink your celery juice. And it's not about guilt or shame or making you feel like you're not doing enough. It's about helping you cut through the noise and finally understand what actually works. Because the girl you want to be, the one who feels confident in her skin, the one who does not stress over every bite of food, the one who actually enjoys the process. She's not created through punishment, girl. She is created through balance, through habits that feel good, through a lifestyle that supports her, not one that drains her. So, why does it feel like you're doing everything right, but nothing's changing? First, let's get one thing straight. If you're putting in the effort and you're not seeing the results, it's not because you're lazy, and it's not because you lack willpower. Most of the time, it comes down to a few key mistakes that are way more common than you think. And honestly, it's not your fault because we have been fed so much misinformation about weight loss and wellness that it's easy to focus on the wrong things while missing the things that actually move the needle. So let's break down a few reasons why this might be happening. You're eating healthy, but you're not in a calorie deficit. Okay, hear me out. Just because something is deemed healthy, it does not mean that it's low calorie. And if you're not in a calorie deficit, then you're not losing fat. That's just science. You could be living your best wellness girl life, sipping on green smoothies, eating avocado toast, and drizzling peanut butter over everything. But if those calories add up higher than what your body burns, no progress. And I know it feels like you're doing everything right, but those sneaky, healthy foods, they can be misleading. And listen, I'm not telling you to start weighing every bite of your food like a human calculator, because that is not the vibe. But knowing what actually keeps you full for fewer calories is a game changer. So here's what to do instead. Stack your plate with high volume, low calorie foods like lean protein, veggies, and fruit. So you're eating more while staying in a calorie deficit. Some of my favorite volume foods are Greek yogurt. I like YoPro or Chobani, by the way. Popcorn, eggs, chicken, and strawberries, just to name a few. Also make sure that you portion check. A big bowl of strawberries, 50 calories. Or a handful of almonds, 200 plus. So just make sure you make it make sense. I'm linking my free calorie calculator in the show notes so you can go check your numbers. You're overestimating how much you're moving. I get it. You hit the gym a few times a week and it feels like you're being super active. But the reality, your workouts are only a small part of your energy burn. If the rest of your day is spent sitting in front of a computer, hello desk jobs, your overall activity might not be enough to create that calorie deficit we spoke about. This was a huge game changer for me when I started aiming for 10,000 steps a day. I just started walking more, and I noticed my progress speed up without changing anything else. It's simple but so underrated. So make sure you increase your daily movement outside of the gym. Walk more, take the stairs, park further away, and stand up between tasks. 10,000 steps a day isn't magic, but movement matters. Even an extra 2,000 to 3,000 steps can make a huge difference. Plus, walking is free, sustainable, and effective. So start where you are and build from there. Okay, this one hits hard. You're being good during the week and overdoing it on the weekends. Oof, I felt this one because for years, I was the queen of clean eating Monday through to Friday, chicken, broccoli, and sadness. Then Friday night hit, game over. It was brunch, cocktails, Uber Eats at 2 a.m. every weekend. And I would wipe out my whole deficit without even realizing it. And it wasn't even bad food, it was just too much. A couple of margaritas, 500 calories plus, that cute little cheat meal, more like a whole day of eating double your usual intake. Dessert, let's be real, we all love it, but we probably weren't having just one square of dark chocolate. So the fix, stop swinging between extremes. Balance is key. Focus on the 80-20 rule. 80% whole nutritious foods and 20% fun foods throughout the week. If you want to have the burger, have it on a Wednesday instead of saving all of the good stuff for the weekend binge. So the goal is to make indulgences part of your life and not just an all or nothing thing. You're not eating enough protein. Okay, if you take one thing from this episode, make it protein. Because protein is the secret sauce to staying full. Because nobody wants to be hangry. Protein also helps keeping that muscle while losing fat. So you look strong, not just smaller. And it also helps recovering faster from your workouts. Because limping for 4 days after leg day is not cute. And the reality is, most people aren't eating enough. So make sure that you get a protein source with every meal, like Greek yogurt, chicken, eggs, tofu, whatever. Just make it happen. Aim for 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. And if you're struggling, protein shakes exist for a reason, babe. You're chasing quick fixes instead of building a lifestyle. You know those juice cleansers, detox teas, and 1,200 calorie diets that promise that you'll lose 5 kgs in a week? Yeah, just don't. Because they don't actually teach you how to keep the weight off. And they make you feel like a failure when you fall off track. They are literally designed to be unsustainable. I get it. You want fast results. But the second you shift from how fast can I lose this weight to how can I make this sustainable, everything changes. And slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. Because I tried to do it as fast as possible, and it led me to always giving up and starting over, which then just delayed my journey 4 years. Focus on small, sustainable habits, like eating more protein, moving more, and actually enjoying your food. Stop seeing weight loss as something with an end date because you don't want to gain it all back. Build a lifestyle you love because if you hate it, you're not going to stick to it. And girlie, you've probably heard this before, but you're just not giving it enough time. Look, I know you want results yesterday, but if you've spent years struggling with your weight, it's not going to change in just 2 weeks. So stop measuring progress just by the scale because it does fluctuate daily. Look at trends over time. Stay consistent for 6 to 8 weeks before expecting any major changes. You don't have a plan, so you keep starting over. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You get motivated, eat clean for a few days, hit the gym, then life happens, motivation drops, and you go back to your old habits. And a few weeks later, you restart all over again. And the problem is, you're relying on motivation instead of discipline. You need a structured but flexible plan that fits into your life, not one that makes you feel like you have to change everything overnight. And the good news is, I can help you with that. With my online coaching, you get tailored plans designed for you and your goals so you can see results while enjoying the process. So if you've been feeling stuck in your weight loss journey, I hope that this helped you realize that it's not you. You don't need more willpower, and you don't need to suffer, and you definitely don't need another fad diet. You just need a smarter, more sustainable approach. Focus on long-term habits, not quick fixes, and create a real plan that works for your lifestyle. And most importantly, give it time. Because the girl you want to be, she's not created overnight. She's built through small, consistent changes that actually feel good. So if you loved this first episode of Hot Girls Eat Carbs, I would love it if you could give the show a rating down below. And it would mean so much to me if you shared it with a friend. And if you want more wellness and lifestyle and weight loss advice, then make sure that you check me out on Instagram and TikTok. It's just Brittany McCrystal, and I will leave my handle in the description notes below. I also just wanted to say thank you guys so much for your support once again. I am so excited to continue recording these episodes, and I will see you in the next one.